Hello, welcome to Chapter 9, Section 6, Solving Quadratic Equations by Factoring. In the previous video, we talked about the zero product property. And when we did these examples right here, we had the quadratic equations already in factored form. In this video, we're going to do that one step that's going to give us the factored form, and then we're going to do everything that we just did. It's going to be set equal to 0, and we will figure out like which part equals 0. Okay, so we only got one step to do to make it look like these, and that's factor it. Now, for factoring, we did some stuff in Chapter 8, and I will have the links to the Chapter 8 videos in Schoology so that you can go back and review those. But you'll be seeing me do this as we go. All right, so let's start off with this one. We got x squared plus 7x plus 10 equals 0. Now, first of all, I have to have it set equal to 0. Otherwise, my zero product property is not going to work. For this one, that's not equal to 0, so I'm going to have to do something here. But this one starts off good. I like this, okay? All good. I want to factor it, which means I'm going to have parentheses, and it's going to equal 0. So something times something equals 0. That's going to give me my zero product property. So now, I know that x times x equals x squared. I got that. And if you want to make your multiplication chart, go for it. That's fine. This one's kind of easy to do in our head, so I'm not going to. I'm going to ask myself, what two numbers, what goes here and what goes here? When I multiply them, I get 10, but then when I add them, because that number times that is going to be something x, and that number times that is going to be plus something x, and those two terms are going to add up to 7x. So what two numbers multiply to give 10 and add to give 7? Well, you can go through the whole process, but it's going to be positive 5 and positive 2. So x plus 5 times x plus 2 equals 0. And if you want to just double check, you can, like I said, make your multiplication chart. But I get x squared, 2x plus 5x is 7x, and 5 times 2 equals 10. So now, that looks like what I just did a moment ago in the previous video. This is now going to be x plus 5 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 5 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 5. Subtract 2 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 2. All right, now you can go back and check both of these to see that they work. And I'm just going to do it out loud, okay? So negative 5. This is negative 5 squared, which is positive 25. 25 plus 10 is 35. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35. So 35 plus negative 35 does equal 0. Negative 5 works. Let's try negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 10 is 14. And 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. So 14 plus negative 14 adds up to 0. So you can do that to check your work every single time to see if you got the correct factors. All right, let's look at the second one. Now, like I said a moment ago, I have to have it equaling 0. I have to have the expression equal 0. This is the quadratic expression. This makes it an equation, and I have to set it equal to 0. So what I do, I'm just going to add negative 8 to both sides. And I'm going to get x to the second power plus 2x, I'll put them in standard form, subtract 8 equals 0. Now let's factor. I'm going to get x times x equals x squared. What two numbers multiply to give negative 8, but add to give positive 2? You can make a list if you want, but it's going to be positive 4, subtract 2. So x times x is x squared. Negative 2x plus 4x is positive 2x, and 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. I get x plus 4 equals 0, or x subtract 2 equals 0. Subtract 4, I get x equals negative 4. Add 2, I get x equals positive 2. Hopefully this isn't too bad. All right, this one's set to equal 0. That's good. This one's not. I'll have to do something to that. What two numbers multiply to give 1 but add to give 2? This is going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1 equals 0. Now this one's kind of fascinating because the two factors that I have are the same. So if I say x plus 1 equals 0, that means that whatever I get here for this one is the same as what I get here. And I said a moment ago, well actually I've said this before when we were solving equations and finding zeros, sometimes you get the same thing twice. You always get 2. However, sometimes you get 2 different answers. That kind of makes sense. Sometimes you get the same answer twice, and sometimes you get 2 answers that are a little weird. We're going to leave out the little weird for a while. But in this case, I just get x plus 1 equals 0. And I'm going to add negative 1 to both sides and get x equals negative 1. And I'm going to make a note to myself. I always get 2, so I'm going to say I get x equals negative 1 twice. I get 2 of them. I get the negative 1 for this one and a negative 1 for that one. Now, sometimes you might do x plus 1 squared, but we're going to save that for later when we start to do square roots and completing the square. Let's check this one. Negative 1 times negative 1, or negative 1 squared, is positive 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. So 2 plus negative 2 does equal 0. Alright, last one in this video. Let's move everything to one side. I can use my choice, it doesn't matter. I can add negative 18 to both sides and add positive 12x to both sides. But I'm actually going to work with this one. I'm just going to add positive 2x squared to both sides here. And I get 0 equals, let's put them in standard form order, 2x squared, subtract 12x plus 18. So I have this plus negative 12x plus 18 because I put them in order. Now, before you panic, because I know that whenever there's a number in front of the x squared that's not the hidden 1, we panic a little bit. And you can do those. Those happen. But actually what I have here is a GCF. I have a greatest common factor. I can divide both sides by 2. And I get 0, still get 0. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I just get 1x squared. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6, so I get negative 6x. And 18 divided by 2 is positive 9. Now, before you panic and say, but the 0's on the wrong side, it doesn't matter. You can say this times this equals 0, or 0 equals this times this when I factor it. That does not matter. Which side the 0's on does not matter at all. But you must always include the equal 0. Otherwise, you don't know what you're doing. All right, what two numbers multiply to give 9? Positive 9, but add to give negative 6. This is going to be x subtract 3 times x subtract 3. And just like this one, I get the same factor twice. So I get x equals 3 twice. And sometimes I've seen students show it with the other one. That's okay, I don't care. You're just copying what you just did. So it's the same thing. As long as you tell me you got it twice, you're good. And if I check it, I get negative 2 times 3 squared. That's negative 2 times 9, which is negative 18. And if I put a 3 in here, I get 18 subtract 12 times 3. That's 18 subtract 36, which also equals negative 18. So when I check it, that works. All right, we'll see you in the next video.